do it.
Let's do it. So happy Independence Day. It's not only Labor Day in Jamaica. There's celebrations all over the world. Happy Independence Day to Eritrea. It is one of the most important public holidays in the country. Today, it is observed on May 24th every year. On this day in 1991, oh, that was 30 years ago, Eritrean People's Liberation Front forces moved into the capital, reinstating independence following a 30-year war against the Ethiopian military. And Eritrea Independence Day, it's a national holiday as well. All of the workers are given a day off. And by the way, in Africa tomorrow, it is African Liberation Day. And on this day, many African countries celebrate the achievement of their freedom from the European colonial powers. So it's a big week in Africa. Happy Eritrean Independence Day. Happy African Liberation Day tomorrow. And happy Labor Day in Jamaica. And Yo-Yo, I'm sorry?
That's my country. You gotta wish me.
You're not letting me finish. And happy Independence Day, Yo-Yo. Man, you don't even let me finish talking. You're like, where the hell? You're like, where? When are you going to say something to me, man? When are you going to acknowledge I'm from Eritrea? Hello, look at the shirt, right? You mix a really great attitude and good fashion sense and good DNA, and you mix it all together. And what do you get? You get a yo-yo too, right? You get a yo-yo. People are gonna go, yo-yo, how come you're like you are? Like you just mixed that thing all together. Look at what God gave us, right? It's fantastic, right?
There you go.
And happy Eritrea. Do you do anything to actually celebrate, or is it you just wake up, it's like a good day for you, or something you're gonna do to celebrate this?
So what I'm gonna do actually after is I'll have just a couple of my friends come over and we'll have some Eritrean food, some injera, kind of just show them the culture, celebrate. This is a big thing for us because they were in war for 30 years with Ethiopia. A lot of people died, and growing up, my mom used to bring a lot of the injured, they call them tigadeltis. She used to bring the injured soldiers to our house. So growing up, I would see this is my family right here in our traditional gear, but growing up, I would see women come blinded by blasts and men, young people come, and my mom would help them kind of just transition to the new world and new life out here in the United States. I saw a lot of the disasters that happened through this war, so this was a big thing for us.
Well,
so that 30th anniversary is huge.
That's really nice. I didn't know that your family did help everybody. What was
my mom? My mom is a beast. I'm gonna tell you one thing.
She's a saint. I don't know if she's a beast, but she's a saint.
She's a beast.
And,
she's a saint.
And did she house them? Did she feed them? Yeah. Provide medical care? Everything.
So I remember for some reason there's one that always sticks up. Her name was Mana. She was blinded. It was an explosion. She was one of the soldiers that was fighting in the war. And I remember she stayed with us for a while. And then I remember even taking her with my mom. I was a kid. She took her to this blind school. She enrolled her into that and, found places for her to stay and just, started her life. And it was a young woman. She had to have been early 20s. So yeah, that's what I remember.
Wow, it's amazing what people go through. I say to me, personally for my life, I always thank my situation that luckily for me, I was born in the United States. I never had to experience any wars. I never had to experience any sort of famine or anything that was like what you're describing right now, so right. Lucky for me. And when I hear these stories, I get chills up and down my spine that what people live through in different parts of the world. And it's sad and also encouraging that you hear stories about how others help people less fortunate. Yeah. So happy Eritrea Independence Day, and congratulations to your mom for being such a saint and helping people. And you're going to have your friends over. Are they aware of everything that your family went through during the War of Independence? No. Do you talk about it with them, or you're just here's some food and let's celebrate?
Well, that's what I'm going to be talking to them about it. They're African as well, so they understand, the culture and how big an Independence Day is. But that's, part of the tradition. We all eat from one big plate and eat together. We feed each other. It's just nothing but love. So then with that, I'll talk about, the stuff that, I've experienced or like my family has. It's just a great, great feeling.
I'm looking to seeing all the Instagram stories on Yonathan Elias TV that you can follow him on. By the way, we mentioned it at the top. Julian gave us a ding, ding, ding. The Department of Homeland Security has announced that the Biden administration is going to grant more than 100,000 Haitians in the United States an opportunity to gain temporary protected status. Now, the TPS program went into effect in 2010 after the earthquake that hit Port-au-Prince, Haiti. For those that were in the United States at that time in 2010, they were granted TPS, which is temporary protected status, which gave people an opportunity to get a work permit, a social security number, and advanced parole if they want to travel home to see their family for short periods of time, knowing that Haiti would not be able to take back the tens and tens and tens of thousands of people who were living in the United States at the time because they just didn't have the infrastructure after the earthquake. Donald Trump wanted to end the program. It was fought in the courts. Eventually, it was set to end this December. And now Biden has extended it not only for those who were here in 2010, but it is now open to new people who can show that they are from Haiti, that they are citizens of Haiti, and that they were in the United States as of May 21st, 3 days ago. So if you are from Haiti and you are in the United States as of May 21st, you now have an opportunity to apply for temporary protected status. It's going to be extended for another 18 months. We'll see how it goes after that. Department of Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas said in a statement, "We determined that we must do what we can to support Haitian nationals in the United States until conditions in Haiti improve so that they may safely return home." As I said earlier, the Trump administration sought to undo this temporary protected status, with an administration official even pressing colleagues for research documenting criminal activity of Haitians as part of its effort to restrict immigration. Both Republicans and Democrats have both called on Joe Biden to extend the protections for Haitians. Senator Bob Menendez, a Democrat of New Jersey, and Republican Senator Marco Rubio, Florida, called on the Biden administration in March to issue a new round of protections for Haitian immigrants in the United States. Nobody was expecting them to make a new date. I was not expecting it. I was expecting them to extend the TPS for those that already had TPS from Haiti that were here in 2010. I was not expecting, so kudos to Joe Biden and a good job by him, not only extending TPS for Haitians that were here in 2010, but opening up the program to all Haitians who were here as of this past Friday. So if you are Haitian and out of status and you're in the United States, unless you arrived this past weekend, you should be applying for TPS. You should get your work permit, your social security card. You can get your driver's license with that documentation in all 50 states. You will be legal in the United States, prevented from getting deported, and you'll even be able to get advanced parole to travel home and come back.
That's amazing. That's going to help a lot of people. I remember when we were talking about that like a couple months ago, there was a lot of people that were asking questions about that. So this is going to help a lot of our viewers for sure.
1 year ago today, George Floyd was killed by a Minneapolis police. Floyd's family will visit the White House on the anniversary of his death, more than a month after former police officer Derek Chauvin was found guilty of murdering Floyd, who died after Chauvin knelt on his neck for more than 9 minutes. At the time, George Floyd's death was called a racial reckoning. Multiracial crowds of protesters called for racial justice. Books about racism topped bestseller lists, and surveys suggested that white Americans who had opposed advancement of racial equality were having a change of heart. According to data from Civics, an online polling company, there has been a net increase in favorability toward Black Lives Matter since 2018. Notably, support peaked in the immediate aftermath of the George Floyd death, but although there is reason for some optimism, Civics data says support for Black Lives Matter movement has declined since then. Support for BLM has remained relatively high among racial and ethnic minorities, but the civics data shows support among white Americans as being fickle and volatile. The reason for the drop is a shift in attitude among Republicans and white Americans generally. After Floyd's death, Republicans reported a much stronger support for Black Lives Matter, as well as Democrats, as well as almost 7 out of 10 Americans, because they saw with their own eyes what happened. They watched a murder in front of them on video. You couldn't ignore it. It was right there in your eyes. How could you say you don't support Black Lives Matter? But now, 1 year later, civics data shows white people are less supportive of Black Lives Matter than they were even at the beginning of 2020. So that's what's happening. That's what's happening there with George Floyd. Are you guys seeing anything in your communities or amongst your friends acknowledging the 1 year anniversary of George Floyd's death?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it's all over all the blogs and, you know, the Instagram pages, and that's a big thing for us as well. So we're definitely, I see it all over.
A whole year already. Time flies, and it's kind of like the whole Black Lives Matter movement has been a conversation this entire year, and it really, really was brought to light when this happened. So it's for sure a conversation.
Do you feel it's been successful?
What?
Black Lives Matter. I mean, Black Lives Matter movement existed before George Floyd. It took off, obviously, by that horrific murder that everybody watched a murder on their telephone or on their laptop or whatever. So you couldn't deny what happened, and you couldn't deny that this man did nothing to deserve to die. Okay? He didn't even deserve to have his face put on the ground, let alone die. All right? So he didn't deserve to have a knee on his neck. I mean, we can go on and on and on. I mean, we're not even talking, I mean, he got killed, and we watched him. And everybody, unless you don't have, you know, blood in your veins, saw a murder. And people were supporting the fact that minorities, blacks, Hispanics, were being treated disproportionately and negatively than whites. And it's been obvious not only statistically, but what we see in our own eyes. And it's obvious based on what minorities, blacks, Hispanics are saying. So you see it on all three. You saw it with your eyes. You see it based on what people in your community are saying. And you see it statistically. You read it. You know, there's, I don't remember the exact percentage, but a majority of men in prison right now are black and minorities.
Correct.
Okay, so it's not that they're committing more crimes than everybody else. They're just being incarcerated more than everybody else. They're being arrested more than everybody else. So it's obvious. And now, 1 year later, with everything that our country went through with George Floyd, with everything that we protested, that we covered, do you feel anything has changed for the better?
So we're obviously still in the same place. You know, there's still black people that are being victimized by police brutality. I don't think that's going to end anytime soon because that's how history was. But for Black Lives Matter, I think absolutely it's still made a change. It's brought a lot of us together as well. You know, people who might not have like really protested or like stood for anything, and now they're coming together as one, you know, representing for the culture, for the race. So I think that it's brought a lot of people together, whether it's just black people or even whites, Hispanics, Asians. There's a lot of people, other races that were supporting as well in protests. So I think that if anything, it did do better. It's brought awareness. Who's to say what would have happened if somebody didn't record the video of George Floyd? I honestly think that stuff like that happened a lot more than we know, but we're just lucky to have these people that are recording it. And I think that's just because of Black Lives Matter. It's brought awareness to us to always be up, just ready to record regardless of what's going to happen or what might not happen, what might happen. So it's brought awareness, it's brought a lot of togetherness, but at the end of the day, a lot of the stuff still hasn't changed because there's always going to be racist people out there that feel like authority is theirs. So
I agree with everything that you said, Yo-Yo, too. And it's like back to your point, Brad, when you mentioned do you feel Black Lives Matter has been successful? I feel like it's like anything else when we use the word success, it's kind of like it's an ongoing thing. It never really ends. It'll go transforming. And I agree with Yo-Yo. Most importantly, a lot more people are talking about the situation, which is bringing a lot more awareness. And that's really what we needed.
I have mixed feelings on all of it. In one sense, yes, the awareness is there that was not there before. But has awareness done anything? Are the police reformed? Are the police getting better trained? From the standpoint of, for me, there's three competing interests going on here. Okay? You have one interest of minorities, blacks, Hispanics want to be treated equal to whites by the police force that is supposed to be keeping our communities safe. And number two, you want safe communities. And number three, you want people to go into the profession of being a police officer because they want to make a difference and make everybody's lives better. So what have we gotten with all of this awareness so far? We've gotten a lot more awareness, 100%. Are blacks and minorities being treated better? I don't think so. Are police reformed? No. Are they being better trained? No. Does anybody feel more secure in their communities? No. Do people want to join the police? No. They don't want to join the police. Police are getting a bad rap right now. So, sadly for me, 1 year later, I don't see better. I don't know if I see worse. I see better awareness.
Well, I mean,
Black Lives... but I don't see better.
That's a start,
but that's
though.
my opinion. And reasonable people can absolutely differ with me.
I was just gonna say that, like anything else, it's gonna take time. It's not gonna be a shift that happens, from 1 year to the next when it's been curated in a lot of culture in our society where it's been happening for hundreds of years. So, I believe.
Yeah, that's basically what I was gonna say. So, Black Lives Matter was formed 2013. And that is something we're fighting something that's where we've been oppressed for 500 years now. So it's definitely not going to happen over a day.
Over 12 months. Right.
We had huge public figures in the civil rights era who fought really hard, just like we're doing now, to bring awareness, to bring a change for us. And what happened? The FBI literally shot them all down, said that they are terrorists, they are a threat. And all they were trying to do was promote equality, so it's definitely not going to happen over a year. And I could care less if people feel like, oh, I don't want to join, I don't want to be a cop now because it's getting a bad rep. Yeah, I feel like all of that should be brought out to light. Like right now, it's also putting out the racist cops. It's also like shedding light to the crooked stuff that's happening. Regardless if it's changing it right now, right, we can't say that it will today, tomorrow, or the years to come. But like at least we know that it's shedding light, it's bringing awareness. That right there is positive, and that's moving towards a change.
Okay. Well, I just want to tell you what's happening in the past week, because I don't even know if it made the front page of any newspaper. It's been in the papers, but not the front page. Okay, last week, we reported that there have been calls for more transparency in the police shooting matters, even by the police unions. Wasn't on the front page, but we saw it. Now, video of a fatal shooting of Andrew Brown Jr., a 42-year-old black man in North Carolina, is casting doubt on whether the use of lethal force was justified in that case. A review of slowed down body cam footage by the New York Times shows that 13 of 14 gunshots, including the fatal one which hit Brown in the back of his head, were fired as Brown was driving away from police officers, not at them, meaning the officers were not in imminent danger. The footage was presented by the district attorney at a press conference and is from 4 different police officers' cameras. And in Louisiana, the state police said Ronald Greene had died in a car crash in 2019, but now new recent footage shows troopers shocking and beating him to death. The Associated Press obtained Louisiana state troopers' body camera video after authorities refused to release it for 2 years. This was happening in Louisiana. In the video moments leading up to his death, troopers can be seen on a dark roadside stunning, punching, dragging a black man as he apologizes for leading them on a high-speed chase. Ronald Greene told the troopers, "I'm your brother, I'm scared, I'm scared." The unarmed man was jolted with a stun gun before he got out of his car. Now, granted, he led the police on a high-speed chase, but after he was subdued, or even had handcuffs put on him, the man didn't deserve to be beat, dragged, stun gunned, and eventually murdered. The state police acknowledged in a one-page statement that Greene struggled with troopers and died on his way to the hospital. That's what they said 2 years ago. But now the 46-minute clip shows one trooper wrestling Greene to the ground, putting him in a chokehold and punching him in the face.
Jeez.
Another trooper drags the man face down after his leg had been shackled and his hands cuffed behind him. 6 troopers were on the scene of the arrest. They left the burly man unattended, face down, moaning for 9 minutes as they used sanitizer wipes to wash blood off their own hands. After a several-minute stretch in which Greene is not seen on camera, he appears again limp, unresponsive, bleeding from his head. He's loaded onto an ambulance, his arms cuffed to a bed rail. At some point, he was dead. Whether he was dead when they loaded him onto the gurney or he was dead on his way to the hospital. Greene was a barber. Granted, he failed to pull over for a traffic violation, and he led troopers on a 30-mile chase south of the Arkansas state line. So obviously he was breaking the law, and the man deserved to be arrested. Deserving to be arrested and deserving to be killed by 6 cops or beat the hell out of, that he didn't deserve. You don't deserve that. Hollingsworth, who was one of the state troopers there, he was the one who got there first. He was the one who put his gun out, and Greene came out on the video, says, okay, I'm sorry. But Hollingsworth then shot Greene with a stun gun within seconds through the driver's side window as both troopers demanded he get out of the vehicle. Trooper Corey York dragged Greene on his stomach. He was suspended without pay for 50 hours. Big deal. Hollingsworth told a colleague at the office that he beat Greene, saying he was splitting blood everywhere and all of a sudden he just went limp. Hollingsworth died in a single vehicle highway crash hours after he learned he would be fired for his role in the Greene case. Moss was arrested in connection with a separate police pursuit last year in which he and 2 other troopers allegedly used excessive force while handcuffing a motorist. The AP obtained a medical report last year showing an emergency room doctor noted Greene arrived dead at the hospital, bruised and bloodied with 2 stun gun prongs in his back. The doctors questioned the troopers, who then told the doctors that Greene died on impact after crashing into a tree. None of that happened. So
Wild.
This is still happening. Now, this happened 2 years ago, but it's been covered up until this past week.
Mm-hmm.
This is as bad as George Floyd. As bad. We're at the 1-year anniversary of George Floyd. As far as I'm concerned, sadly, you know, the more things change, the more things stay the same. That's how I view it. More than talk about it, we got to protest it. We got to keep it alive, I guess. And I guess you're right, Yonathan and Vanessa, in the sense that, you know, you got to, you know, you're not going to change 500 years of history in 12 months.
At all.
All right, so I guess let's just keep talking about it.
That's all we can do.
Mm-hmm. I got very sad reading that. I'm like, you know.
It's
and
horrible.
that was dated
It's a lot.
2019.
That happened in
2 years
2019,
ago.
but it just came out this past week, all of this that happened.
It's horrible.
All right, so coronavirus deaths have reached 590,141 people in the United States. The number of global deaths, the World Health Organization believes, is 3 times higher. 6 to 8 million people have died from COVID since the start of the pandemic. In the United States, more than 400 colleges and universities are requiring students to be vaccinated or don't show up on campus. We have about 50% of Americans have at least 1 shot. More than 25 of the 50 states have a majority of their residents vaccinated. But they are still have a way to go to get to 70%, which is the goal of Joe Biden by July 4th. Most scientists believe that if we get to 70% vaccination rate by July 4th, we will not only be able to open up all of the United States, which is happening as we speak, but that we will hopefully have subdued coronavirus for a longer period of time than a short period of time. What that long period of time looks like, we don't know. Dr. Fauci, he said ultimately we may need a booster for a vaccine. He originally said maybe in 12 months. He kind of walked that back a little bit in another interview. He said he doesn't know how long. It could be much longer than 12 months before you need a booster. So we'll see what happens with that. The other thing that's happening with coronavirus is that Dr. Fauci said, when asked at a conference recently, is it possible? Remember, we had that conversation of where coronavirus originated?
Mm-hmm.
And it either came from wildlife that jumped to a human, or it came from the Wuhan laboratory that was running experiments and either negligently or intentionally was released. Probably, if I had to guess, I can't believe anybody would release it intentionally, but negligently released by the Wuhan lab. And when asked recently in an interview, he said it is possible it came from the Wuhan lab. It is possible it came from an animal. He's not sure anymore.
Wow.
Wow.
Wow,
What?
that's what I said when I read it.
How are you not sure anymore?
Right, because he said originally it was animal. So his name means little miracle, and Xiao Qi Ji, the Smithsonian National Zoo's newest giant panda cub, made his public debut Friday after being born last August to his mother, Mei Xiang, who was considered old at age 22 to get pregnant. Up to now, because of the coronavirus pandemic, fans have only been able to catch a glimpse of the cub playing and snoozing on the zoo's panda cam. But with the zoo reopening Friday for the first time since last November, they now can watch him outside doing panda things, like climbing and chewing and eating. The cub, Xiao Qi Ji, weighs 45 pounds, and the zookeepers say a long way from the tiny squealing, quote, stick of butter, as cubs are called at birth. When the cub was 5 weeks old, it was only 13 inches big. Can you imagine 13 inches big, the huge bear?
Right.
You like a real teddy bear.
Yeah. They look like a real teddy bear, don't they?
Right.
Except if you went in the cage with them, they'd kill you.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. That's like Chucky the teddy bear. Like, oh,
Right,
look
right.
at this cute little teddy bear. Ah! You know?
Right. Exactly like that.
Yeah. But they look cute from afar, but they'd kill you if you came too close.
I like seeing them eat too. I like seeing them eat the bamboo.
Now the public got to pick Xiao Qi Ji's name back in November, and as part of the cooperative agreement with China to breed the vulnerable species in their native land, he will be returned there when he's 4 years old to join his three siblings, Bei, Bao Bao, and Tai Xuan. How's my Chinese?
Yeah, I was about to say you're doing pretty good with the names.
Well, I want you to know something. When I go to a Chinese restaurant and they give me the menu, I'm a genius with that Chinese menu.
Oh yeah.
Nobody knows how to order Chinese food like me.
What's your go-to?
General Chow.
Me too. General Tso chicken.
Yeah, of course.
Yummy.
And have a little sliced duck. You roll it up in the pancake with a little plum sauce, cucumbers, scallions. You roll it up. Make sure you have a napkin here because it's going to get messy very fast. And then chow down. Nobody's better at a Chinese restaurant than me. Trust me. I know how to order. It shows how I know how to order. Look at what I look like. Of course I know how to order Chinese food. Meanwhile, the Fort Worth Zoo has welcomed a new baby giraffe, Kala, on May 8th. Let's see the baby giraffe. That's cute too.
Oh, that is.
Yeah, now the male calf, whose gender was revealed last Wednesday, is 6 feet tall baby. That is a big baby, 174 pounds baby.
So
That's
cute.
great.
Yes. I was once called a 174-pound baby too, but I'm not a giraffe. But I'm bummed. The zoo says the little calf will be able to meet his new fans soon, but in the meantime, a naming contest is in the works. So we'll see what the name is. I wonder how they do the naming contest. I don't know, but we'll figure it out. Meanwhile,
That's one animal I want to see, a giraffe, like in person.
I've seen a giraffe in person.
Yeah. I want to feed it. This
no,
is
no,
like
no, they would kill you also. They'd hit you with their hoof and kill you in 2 seconds.
No, there's like a hotel where you can like, there's like a bunch of open windows.
In Kenya, I've seen that on Instagram.
Yeah.
Those are like domesticated giraffes they got there.
That's one of the ones I want to see.
Right. Yeah, you see the person swinging on the swing. They're like on the swing outside the hotel and feeding the giraffes. Yeah, I've seen that.
That's what I want to do.
Yeah, I was on a safari years ago. I saw a giraffe. I wouldn't go near it. That thing would kill you.
No. I wouldn't go near those.
You know, it's also very scary. The hippopotamus.
Those are dangerous. Hippos are dangerous.
They're in the water. They're minding their own business. And as soon as they come up and open their mouth, you jump and you literally, the camera's in the water, the video, everything's in the water. You're lucky, you're still in your skin. Because they open up their mouth and roar. Oh my God, very scary.
Yeah.
Not that I ever experienced that.
Oh.
But I did.
I'm sure you did.
My camera ended up in the water. I don't have pictures of it anymore.
Yikes.
Meanwhile, human and gorilla moms both gush over their newborns. Earlier this month, Emmelina Austin and her 5-week-old son Canyon visited the Franklin Park Zoo in Boston. While visiting the Massachusetts Zoo gorilla exhibit, Emmelina said she noticed one of the primates was looking at her sleeping newborn son. Emmelina told News Center Maine, quote, "She kept looking around the corner of the cave and I was like, she's looking at Canyon." The mom from Jefferson, Maine described the moment the gorilla came over to see her son up close, which was caught on camera. Emmelina said for well over 5 minutes, she just sat there watching Canyon, just staring at him, just so lovingly. Emmelina's husband, Michael, uploaded the video of the adorable interaction to YouTube. Michael captioned the clip, which was over 71,000 views. "This gorilla is Kiki. She recently had a baby named Pablo. My wife, Emmelina, also had a baby 5 weeks previous to this video. Kiki had brought her baby over to us and shared a connection with my wife and our baby boy, Canyon." Oh, that is really nice. Can I look at that video again?
That is sweet.
And the gorilla has the baby too? In his own?
Yeah, it's so cute and it's tiny.
Oh, wow. Look, and now the gorilla's lying next to the baby.
Yeah, and
wow.
Yeah. So cute.
Now, back in October, Kiki the gorilla gave birth to Pablo, and it's the Boston Zoo's first male baby gorilla. With the help of veterinarians and physicians since the birth, Kiki has kept her son close and loves to hold him, according to the Franklin Park Zoo. That was very cute. That was a nice cute. Fuzzy Monday video.
That was a good Fuzzy Monday.
Yes.
Fuzzy Monday.
Freckles the lobster was not destined to be served up as a delicious basket of lobster at the Cheddar Bay Biscuits restaurant. The extremely rare calico lobster is now at the Virginia Living Museum in Newport News, Virginia, after being discovered at a Red Lobster in Manassas, Virginia. Restaurant staff discovered the orange and black speckled lobster and decided it was best for Freckles to head to the museum for the world to see him. Only 1 in 30 million lobsters in the world have this very special shell because having bright colors is not the best way to hide from predators. So Chris Crispin, Virginia Living Museum's Senior Director of Animal Welfare and Conservation, said, "We take pride in our conservation efforts and strive to create strong partnerships in our community." Red Lobster reached out to Oza Network to provide a home for this rare and beautiful animal. Unfortunately for all of Freckles' compatriots, Red Lobster is still feeding up lots of lobsters. But Freckles, kind of like the turkey who gets pardoned on Thanksgiving, got pardoned by Red Lobster.
Right, and isn't that ironic that having Freckles would be the main reason why they would probably get killed by their prey, but it's the actual reason why Freckles got saved?
That is quite ironic. That is quite ironic. Yeah, because Freckles shouldn't be alive right now, right?
Exactly.
Right. Well, we're glad he is.
All right.
We are.
And lastly, our last fuzzy news of the day. A cephaloid is an active predatory mollusk, such as an octopus or a squid or a cuttlefish. Cephalopod. A cephalopod cephalopod is an active predatory mollusk. Now, a new test of cephalopod smarts, the octopus smarts, has reinforced how important it is for us humans to not underestimate the octopus. Now, cuttlefish have been put to a new version of the marshmallow test, and the results appear to demonstrate there's more going on in their brains than we thought. Their ability to learn and adapt, the researchers said, could have evolved to give cuttlefish an edge in the cutthroat, eat or be eaten marine world. In the marshmallow test, or Stanford marshmallow experiment, a child is placed in a room with a marshmallow. They are told if they can manage not to eat the marshmallow for 15 minutes, they're going to get a second marshmallow and be allowed to eat both. This ability to delay gratification demonstrates cognitive abilities such as future planning, and it was originally conducted to study how human cognition develops, specifically at what age a human understands delaying gratification if it means a better outcome in the future. And now it's so simple, it can be adjusted for animals. Some primates can delay gratification along with some dogs. Now, last year, cuttlefish also passed a version of the marshmallow test. Scientists showed that common cuttlefish can refrain from eating a meal of crab meat in the morning once they have learned dinner will be something they like much better, shrimp. The team of researchers designed another test for 6 common cuttlefish. The cuttlefish were placed in a special tank with 2 enclosed chambers. In the chambers were snacks, a less preferred piece of raw king prawn in one, and a much more enticing live grass shrimp in the other. The doors had symbols on them that the cuttlefish were trained to recognize. A circle meant the door would open right away. A triangle meant the door would open in time. And the control group was a square, which meant the door stayed closed indefinitely. So the researchers found that all the cuttlefish in the test condition decided to wait for the preferred door, the live shrimp, but didn't bother to do so in the control group where they couldn't access it. So cuttlefish know which door to open to get their right food that they want, or their best food. Now, researchers said, quote, cuttlefish in the present study were able to wait for the better reward and tolerated delays for up to 50 to 130 seconds, which is comparable to what we see in large brain vertebrates such as chimpanzees, crows, and parrots. Interestingly, My Octopus Teacher, which is a 2020 Netflix documentary, which documents a year spent by the filmmaker Craig Foster forging a relationship with an octopus in the South African kelp forest, won the award for the Academy Award for Best Documentary Film. And in the film, you could even see the octopus waiting to see this filmmaker and giving him a hug. So octopuses have brains. That's what we have learned from all of this.
Yes.
Yeah? Now, octopus is not very fuzzy.
They're not.
Would you give an octopus a hug?
The gorilla.
Would you give an octopus a hug?
No.
What would you rather do? Hug an octopus or pet a shark?
What?
Yeah, death is not an option. You have to hug an octopus, pet a shark.
Pet a shark.
I think I would pet a shark too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we all agree with that. Pet a shark instead of hug an octopus. Good.
Yes.
Smart.
But they're sweet. Octopus. I've seen videos of octopus like being very sweet and affectionate towards human beings. So
and there's sharks that don't attack humans. It's not like every shark's a Jaws. Thanks for watching. For more Brad Show Live, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.